Thursday, April 10th, and this meeting will be broadcast to Channel 22 as well as live streamed and recorded to the MRSC YouTube channel. I'm calling the meeting to order at 6:31. And the first item of business, approval of meeting minutes in your packet. We have two sets, March 13th, March 27th. We're going to take these separately. Could I have a motion for March 13th, please?
So moved.
All right, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? That passes. The next one is March 27th. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
We'll take it from Brad.
Brad.
And a second from Jackie.
Second, yeah.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. And now we're going to move to public comment. Anybody from the public would like to speak this evening? We will take it. No one? All right, we will move on. So under reports and discussions, our first item of business is Best Buddies Leadership Conference and Student Trip. I know we have Shayna in our Zoom room, and we have some members here in our audience, so if you just want to come up to the mic, thank you. And I don't know who would like to start, but feel free.
Oh, I'm happy to start.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi, Miss Grogan.
So we are here, hi, Jax. We are here kind of requesting to go to Indiana University from July 18th to July 21st for the Best Buddies Conference. I personally have never been to this, so I'm quite excited, and I thought it was a really unique opportunity we could take having Gigi and Jax go with us as the sister-brother duo to kind of get a different angle and different lens from the sibling and the best buddy. Gigi also wants to go into special education when she gets older, so I just thought it was a really nice path for her to take as well. And Emma actually went to it before, so she has a nice experience that she could bring to the table as well. So we're just seeking out approval to go on the trip.
All right, thank you.
Anything you want to say, Gigi?
Nothing, you pretty much covered it.
Sorry. How about you, Jax? You look petrified.
Look at Miss Grogan. Act like you're talking to Miss Grogan.
I have nothing more to add.
Thank you. Emma, do you have anything you want to add?
Not really. I just wanted to say that, like Shayna stated, I went on the trip and it was amazing. I went my junior year, the summer between junior and senior year, and it was amazing just to be a part of that trip. And it really, like Gigi, I wanted to go into special education, and that helped me pick my field. So
Wonderful.
I loved it, yeah.
All right, good. Any questions? We'll start with Meredith and then Jackie.
Shanna, do you know the cost of this and how it's getting funded?
Yes, so the fees for Emma and I are $650 each, and the fee for Jax and Gigi are $400 each, and we already have money in our Best Buddies account that can pay for that. And then we also have the ability to fundraise on the Best Buddies platform or independently for the airfare. All of the lodging is quote-unquote free, but I'm pretty sure that's the fees that we're paying. And we'd be staying in the dorms, and transportation to and from the airport is provided.
So you would just need flights above this?
Correct.
Okay. Jackie and then Brad.
Hi, Shayna.
Hello.
This looks incredible. I love the wickedly inclusive logo. It's so cool. My only question, and I don't know if it's to you or to the committee, but when approving trips, sometimes we have like itinerary and like some dates of like when we're going, when we're coming back, how we're getting where, buses. We have something like that, and I don't know what your timeline is for needing this approved. If that's something that can be available that we can have at our next meeting, and if it's not, maybe there's a reason it's not in the packet, and that's completely fine. I just wanted to see if you could outline any of that.
Yep, so the itinerary, I apologize for not printing that off. That is actually online. It's all printed out. The 18th is arrival for everybody, and then the 19th and the 20th are all of the activities and the events, and then the 21st is departure. But where Emma and I teach summer school on the 21st, we were going to hopefully try to get our flights on the 20th so we could be back in time to work on Monday. And what was your other question? I can get that to you.
Transportation while you're there, is it needed, like from airport to,
The airport to, it's right at the Indiana University, so it's the airport to the university, and then we stay in the dorms, and everything is right at the school.
okay.
All right. Thank you. Brad?
Hi, Shana. Maybe I missed, how many participants altogether were going?
Just the four of us.
Just four. And how many years have we been doing this?
We have been doing Best Buddies for, before I
Okay,
signed
so
up on
long time.
board about 10 years ago. And then the first year that I know about that we've sent students over was Emma's year. And then COVID hit and everything kind of went haywire. And now I really wanted to get back into the swing of sending students to the conference. And that's also why I wanted to go this year, because I don't feel comfortable sending kids over without really knowing what it's all about. So that's why I was hoping Evan and I could go as well.
Sure. And can you just summarize, what are the key things that everybody who goes there, when the students go, when they come back, what do they get out of it?
So we're hopefully going to gain some leadership skills. We're going to gain different ways and ideas of becoming more inclusive, although our high school, I believe, is very, very inclusive. There are obviously other schools that have different ideas and to try to collaborate. And then for Jackson Gigi to take away from it is more of just that global leadership and knowing that there are other groups out there that we could either do Zoom meetings like this or different games and reach out to different events with them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know, just because I remember Emma graduated in 2020, and then, so I guess it sounds like Emma went, and that's been the last time that anybody's gone, is that correct? And Emma, is there
Correct.
anything, I know you spoke a little bit, anything else you want to add from being a student who went? I know you said it inspired special ed. Was there anything
Yeah.
else you want to?
It was just amazing, like, I loved it. You go and you meet all these people, you get put in groups with, so I think by states, so ours was Mass and Rhode Island. And then in that group, you have like subgroups, and then you go to conferences all day with different speakers and stuff, and you take notes, and you just get so much information about how to bring the message back to your school and how to get students involved and build a whole community around these kiddos that are so important and that we love.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else, any other questions? So Shana, typically, if it's okay with you, our next public meeting will be May 8th. Would you mind, I know you said we could find the itinerary and everything online, but would you mind, I guess between now and then, and we can include it in the next packet that we have on May 8th, and then we can take a vote on this then. Would that work for you?
Yes, the only thing is, I guess, is the fundraising for the airfare, because we would go in July, so I just wanted to provide, just because it's Jackson and Gigi, to give their mom a chance to get enough fundraising time, but in the airfare, I think we would have enough time in that time frame between May and June to get the money together. But that's my only concern, is the fundraising piece.
Okay, thank you for that, Jackie.
I would be comfortable if it's much like the student trips that we do also. If it was an itinerary that is actually online and put together by this organization and accessible.
It is.
It's not something that, itinerary you guys are creating yourselves, like, I think that would probably suffice because I do want to make sure that they can fundraise in time, because it is kind of a tight turnaround, because I don't want to inhibit that from happening. A few weeks or 4 weeks actually or more can make a difference. So I would be comfortable with that if it's, outlined like some of the other, like the Gerber trips and such. I think Shana could still probably provide us that and
As a
answer any
follow-up.
questions, but typically they're pretty much in line. I mean, it's a little different, it's not as many students, and it's not overseas, and there's not a lot of those other finite details we often worry or talk about, so.
Okay, so you're saying you would be comfortable voting tonight, is that what you're saying? Anybody else want to weigh in, Brad?
Yeah, I would too. That's why I asked, is this been, because I didn't know whether this was something that's been going on for years. It's been a very regular type of trip. I don't have a problem with voting tonight.
Okay, anybody else? All right, well, if everybody's comfortable, would you like to make a motion? Sure. Jackie?
Motion to approve the Best Buddies Leadership Conference and Student Trip as presented in our packet.
Thank you.
And I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstaining? All right, we have passed it. Shana?
Have fun.
Have a good time, everybody.
Come back and tell us.
We'll look forward to getting a report.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, moving to the next item, under reports and discussions, we have the peer mediation presentation, and I believe this is Ms. McGuire.
It is Ms. McGuire.
Technical.
Well, will I talk, maybe? Yeah. Okay. Ms. McGuire, Director of Student Services. A few months ago, we had, presented on all of our clinical services and supports. And within that, we talked a little bit about the alternatives that we're using to a suspension, right? That's one of the things that we're required to look at is alternatives to suspension. And so how we support students, and we talked about 3 different ones. Peer mediation was one. Now, God bless these students, their schedules are so crazy. We were trying to figure out how to get them here to a school committee meeting. But they went ahead and did a video, which is amazing, that really gives you what it looks like. They're doing a mock peer mediation for you, and Stacy is doing a little explanation about what peer mediation is. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Just make sure the audio is.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stacy Arnold, and I am the advisor for peer mediation here at Monomoy Regional High School. So today, I just wanted to explain
I will
what
remind
peer
it.
mediation is. Hi, everybody. My name is Stacy Arnold, and I am the club advisor for peer mediation here at Monomoy Regional High School. So today, I just wanted to explain briefly what peer mediation is and my job as an advisor. I do train students in the peer mediation process, which is all about active listening, reflective listening, and solving small level problems within the building. During a mediation process, there are 2 mediators, and there also is a note taker involved. There is no adults involved in the process. It is peer-to-peer, and the goal is that the mediators will provide support throughout the process. It is not their job to come up with a solution. It is their job to brainstorm with the people being mediated. We found great success here. I have a great group of kids right now working, being trained, so I'm looking forward to this year and the years to come with them. Without further ado, we'd like to show you just how peer mediation actually works. Enjoy.
Hi guys, my name is Judy.
My name's Mia.
My name's Connor. We're your mediators, and I'll be taking notes. What are your guys' names?
Hello. I'm Ryder.
After introducing themselves to one another, the mediators go through the ground rules. These consist of basic precautions to ensure a safe environment for everyone. For example, no name-calling or physical violence, and also making sure that everyone has a suitable tone of voice and stays in their seats. After explaining everything, they ask if they are acceptable to be their mediators and if there's any other questions. Assuming that everyone's on board, the mediation begins.
Okay, so basically me and Ray are both running for class president, and we've both been hanging up posters, but the other day I saw him.
As the first disputant explains the conflict, the mediators listen carefully and then repeat back to them what they have said after they are done.
Okay, so I hear that you're seeing him work down the posters and there's no context to why he was doing that and you don't know why? Okay. Seriously. Alright, we're going to be respectful to the other person, so you can continue that.
This is a perfect example of the mediators enforcing the rules.
This is a time for fixing and relaxation.
Okay. Workshop was a lot farther than posters do. Posters are in school.
But the word can go farther outside of school. It can travel to a lot of different people.
Are you done now?
Yes.
As the disputants go back and forth explaining their sides of the story, the note taker and mediators allow them to communicate without stepping in much.
School eventually.
All right, Ann.
Can we focus on trying to find a solution now? Can we shift gears and see?
Once both disputants cover their sides of the story, the mediators start to nudge them in the direction of finding a solution. What we just saw was a great example of this.
Okay, so what is a way that you think we could fix this problem?
Liv could stop talking to people about how bad a president I am.
What is one way you think we could solve this problem?
He can stop ripping down my posters.
Okay, thank you.
Do we agree with each other that we're gonna move forward and not let them pass out there? Yes. Okay.
Connor, what was the solution they came to there?
So, the solution that you guys came up with is that you guys would both stop with the ripping of the posters and the spreading of the rumors and run the race, like, without any dirty stuff.
Yeah, I think this was very effective today. I hope you guys can continue to be friends as you were.
Nice. Any questions? Thank you for that. Oh, do you have any questions, comments? Brad?
Yeah, that is, I remember when we first heard about this process, I thought it was remarkable. But what is the follow-up to this? Because it's once this is done, the mediation's done, is there a follow-up step in the process, or is it until you hear something again if there's a problem?
If there's a problem, they come back to the table.
Okay.
And then, of course, the mediators are coached by Stacy. So she's trained to train the mediators. So then they follow up with her, they get some coaching on how it went, what went well, what would you do next time, so that there's constant learning happening in terms of the mediation process.
And do we know what percentage of time that this, I guess, is successful, that there isn't a need for a follow-up?
I can get those data. I have not heard of any situation that's required multiple mediations,
So
but I can certainly get that from...
100%? I mean, it's like the secret sauce.
It's, I think the secret sauce is that it's peer-to-peer. And so there's a level of listening, because you're sitting with people that you know, people hopefully you trust, and if you notice in the beginning, they ask if they're okay with the mediators. I think she has 5 or 7 mediators that she's trained. So the fact that they ask whether or not they accept the mediators, another trust piece in terms of them building those relationships. I can get the data for you, though. It's been incredibly effective. And it's been effective from moving to more challenging, behaviors amongst students because of it.
Sure, and just because if it didn't work the first time and they had to go back, doesn't mean that the second time after that it's effective as well. But, yeah, I'd be really interested to see if you do have any statistics on that.
I would definitely get those for you.
Thank you.
Jackie?
What grade level does the peer mediation training start, and how do you guys match, the mediators to the certain situations or age groups?
So Stacy within the group will talk to the mediators about, what the problem is. Obviously, you're not going to put best friends in as a mediator with a student who has, an issue. So knowing her mediators, what the problem is, talking to the group about who's going to mediate that is obviously really important. So just knowing her group and then presenting the problem and determining who would best be suited to mediate. That's why there's always 2 mediators, too.
So there's a variation of grade levels in age, starting
Yes.
at 8th grade.
So to come to, the mediators, I believe, are juniors. They may be seniors, but I can get I don't think they're younger than that. I think they're at least juniors.
So the video we saw, they're training.
So those 2 are mediators. They're actually mediators. So what's that? Those were all eighth graders.
Those are all
I guess she
eighth graders.
does. So I don't have the grades. I don't
Okay.
honestly know the grades.
That's why I was at, I'm like, that was my son. Like,
Well, there you go. So I have to ask her, I thought
okay.
it was going into.
I
Yeah.
could absolutely see it as a like,
Yeah.
in eighth grade, you come in, you start training, and then as a junior or senior, like, you're
Yes.
ready to go. Because that's why I'm like, I don't
So I think
an eighth
they
grader
have,
is a
yeah,
senior, but-
students, yep, in training,
Okay.
most definitely.
Great.
So that's so fun, they're all eighth grade, I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
they don't go in there until that grade, so, but I can get
I
the
was
range
assuming they were all
of
in
kids.
it, there's got to be a training portion to it, so they
There
kind
is.
of graduate
Yes.
through this program, and then by junior, senior, they're like those go-to peer mediators, which is great, it's a good model.
And Stacy's been doing this for a few years. As a matter of fact, we presented, and they actually did a mock one at a state conference. It was during COVID, so it was Zoom, but they were doing the trainings, and it was so well-received, because it was across all the districts in the state that they did it. And so it's not old in terms of the progress that it's made in the school systems. So, but Stacy jumped right on it when it was available for her to get trained to do it.
It's really in line with everything else that we're doing, too.
Yes.
Were you
Except I,
beginning?
didn't know what grades those were, so I'm
No,
sorry.
I
didn't
didn't
get
know it was
those,
mine.
yeah.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
Just going back, how long is the training period?
I'll
Or
have to get.
is it a certain
yeah.
amount of times that they have to go through?
They meet with Stacy, so she has a schedule of the times, and she does it during JOSM. And I don't think, she might have done some after school. I'd have to ask her what that schedule is across the year for her training. I mean, she's always getting kids ready for the next year. So from the previous year, who she's trained to new kids that might come in to want to be trained.
Is it a period of months that it takes place, or is it a certain amount of times?
I'll have to get that
Okay.
schedule for you. They couldn't be here, so I'm just like trying to kind of push the, their agenda here with it.
I could answer only because I've gotten mediated at my dining room table now.
Oh, fantastic.
It's great. It's effective. He does JOSM.
Yeah.
And so he started since he was in the fall, and it goes through the year. So they're getting it every week, however many times that club rotates through JOSM. And then I think it's like it's a club that you join, and then, like you choose the other ones, and it hopefully is something that those students enjoy doing, and every year they continue to be part of that process, so.
So much better than me.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I knew it happened at JOSM. I don't know if there was anything outside of school that they had done. If there's, that I would have to ask Stacy, if there's other times in which they've met as a team.
Okay. Anybody else? I have a question, but I don't know if you can answer it. I was curious, if they don't accept the mediator, like if they go in and say, no, not this mediator, does it just stop? Is there a backup?
Well, she would have to schedule.
So you have to reschedule.
She'd have to schedule mediators.
Okay.
Other mediators.
Okay, so it would have to end. And then my comment, what I loved about what I observed, focusing on the active listening, what I really liked about it is the reflection back. Like, this is what I heard, because I think that's where things happen. So I really like that the kids are being taught, and I feel like everybody should have an issue so they can go through this process and learn it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
for adults, too, to
Yes.
do the mediation process.
Yeah, I think those are good life skills. Thank you. All right, moving to the next item is PUPS Pre-K at Chatham Elementary with information on other preschool and childcare programs in our schools and communities. Dr. Millen.
Good evening, everyone. Robin Millen, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. I have come today just to recap all the preschool community partnership information that has been presented. The slides that I'm going to present were created by Dr. Carpenter and Mr. McMillan. They were presented at the Harwich Town Select Board meetings and FinCom meetings as well. So I'm just going to briefly touch base with the different programs, and then happy to answer any questions. So We've talked a lot about integrated preschool, and Director Melissa McGuire is obviously here. She can answer some questions too if you have them. I'm not going to take a long time about integrated preschool. It is the preschool program that has been running in the district for many, many years since we started. It is a half-day program, as we've discussed before. It runs 4 days out of the week, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And it is for students who have special education needs, so ages 3 and 4. Most of the students enter into an early intervention programming prior to those days. Sometimes we pick up children along with the screening process, but our class sizes over the last few years have been on that left-hand column, about 28, 35, 34. And then this past year, they obviously have dropped, and I know we've discussed that. We have about 13 students right now that are identified, and so we will match those identified students with community peers, and those will be our classrooms for the school year. The budget for this program is also listed there. It is going to be centralized at Harwich Elementary School. They have done the screenings already for community peers. I think they had about 28 to 30 community peers that were screened. There will be a 1.5 FTE integrated preschool reduction staffing at HES this year, and a 0.5 reduction in preschool at CES. I'll talk a little bit about the CES program in a minute. And then I know we've had lots of questions. It is, there's certain regs, and again, Director McGuire's gone over this, but the regulations are that the classrooms cannot be any greater than 15 students. It's about a 50-50 split between special education students and community peers, so 7 students with disabilities and no more than 8 students without disabilities in that 15 total, so about a 1-to-1 ratio. Again, the size of that program is dictated by how many special education students are. So right now, again, we're anticipating the 13, so that's how we've determined the size and the programming to be at Harwich. So as you know through our discussions over the last couple of months, that opened up an opportunity that we had started. I know I presented a couple, maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago now, that we have space to think a little bit more broadly about, are we servicing all the children with high-quality instructional programming, either through our community partnerships or through our own preschool programs within the district. So we started pulling information from an old needs assessment that was done in 2016, and it was done from the state, Harwich, Chatham, Dennis, Yarmouth, community partners, Monomoy Childhood Council. It was a big group of people, and I know I've talked about this, but they had determined that there was a substantial need for high-quality instructional programming for certain demographics of students. So Jen Kelly, who I cannot thank enough, she is the principal over at CES, has been going through that grant with me, along with additional information that we have collected along this year or so. We started talking about it a year ago during the strategic planning. It came out often in the strategic planning discussions, focus groups, surveys. People were like, we need additional programming for our preschool. We need to talk about how we can coordinate with our community partners. So we started the discussion, and then we continued to kind of dig in to see what were the actual needs within our community. So, and I know Gretchen's here. I spoke with the Rocking Unicorn. She was gracious and had some great ideas for us. We also talked to Cindy Horgan up at Cape Cod Children's Place. She was like singing, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. She just couldn't stop. She's like, if a community partner opened up next door to her, she said she would open the doors and move them in. This is just such a determined need, and all the organization and the people who do this work. We also talked to the Monomoy Early Childhood Council. We talked to all the Francie Joseph, who used to run the Make Way for Kids program, which is what we are sort of modeling this after. And again, resounding support from everybody, but I can't thank the community partners enough for giving enough information so that we don't displace any existing programs, but that we augment and help support students that need this type of programming. So in the end, we have named the program PUPS, which is Baby Sharks. It does not stand for anything, sorry, Melissa. There's no acronym here. We played with a lot of them, but it does not. It's a full day, school day length, school year program that we're created. It will be funded through the Chatham assessment. It will be housed at Chatham, and again, with the new regional agreement, the way it is set, Chatham will carry the funding for this programming. It is open to all students in our families, in our two district towns. We went back and forth. Makeway used to have criterion-based enrollment, but we felt it was really important that we open it up to all of our families. We have high needs population that is quite significant in our district, so putting criteria on something like that, it just didn't make any sense. This is open to all of our families and our students that should need it. It is open for children ages 3 and 4. The focus will be on supporting families with needs who are not accessing current programming. I think Francie was had some really good ideas about saying when Makeway for Kids was in place, she acted as a liaison to the community partners. So it wasn't always like, okay, when she had the interest forms come in and things came in for Makeway, it wasn't like, okay, we're taking them. It was, we're going to sit down and have a conversation. Is PUPS the best program for your family? Does it meet your needs? Would the integrated program be a better? Would the Rocking Unicorn, Cape Cod Children's Place be a better? So I think that's really what we're looking at as this being a liaison, because we do know where the children are typically, but our program might not be necessarily the best program for certain kids. So we will be focusing on especially supports, and I'll tell you about the data that we have so far, but with preschool services that are not being covered other places. And then we are capping it at 20. We had talked about 15. We're right now at 20. Again, we're trying to stay within the regs. We do anticipate a need for a lottery. We went live, thank you to Joy Jordan and these wonderful graphics and all the information that has been sent out. We went live about a week ago. We have 22 interest forms already. Over about a couple came in today, so that percentages are changing here and there as everybody comes in, but about the majority of them have no previous preschool experience. So we are hitting that demographic, as do the students that need that access, that need the transportation, that need the ML servicing, and have other support like wraparound supports that our schools have. So we probably will have a lottery for this, because we're going to have too many children. So, and right now it's about a 50-50 split between Chatham students and Harwich students that have shown interest. We have also seen interest from Yarmouth, Dennis, and Brewster, even though it says everywhere it is Chatham and Harwich. But I think it really tells that that needs assessment that was done in 2016, that this needs to be an expansion idea, that this area definitely needs to start collaborating and making sure that our students are being serviced, is showing up in our data now too. So we're not doing that yet, but I think that would be something that we would want to consider in the future. Oh, let me just go back. We are closing interest forms on April 30th. We will do our lottery on May 1st. We are late to the game right now. A lot of people are out making sure that they're covered for the September preschool programming, but we will have information to our families by May 1st.
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes.
So it's for our community. Does that include staff and faculty's children if they're not?
Yes, so we've
residents?
been talking about that. We do not have school choice at preschool, so if we have seats available, we will entertain that, is where we've kind of landed. But there is significant interest there is 3, I think, staff members right now that have the interest. And accessibility is the problem with our staff members, and I mean, people in the classroom can't leave the classroom to go pick up their child from a half-day program and take them to daycare. So accessibility is one of those criteria points, so that's conversations we still have to have.
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead. We're going to pause if this is okay.
Yeah, just since we're on this topic right now, and Robin, again, you just said no school choice. I just wanted to make sure. So there's no students outside of Chatham and Harwich can attend this?
Not right now.
Not right now.
We seem to have enough interest in Chatham and Harwich. I do think, Superintendent Carpenter can, but that would have to be a decision that you would open up school choice at that level, too.
Anybody else? I just have a quick question. So, children ages 3 through 4, so that's 2 years. Okay, so I'm just curious, thinking ahead, if you get in at age 3, are you automatic for the next go?
Yes.
Okay.
So we had agreed that it would be a 2-year program, and that's the hope in the servicing. I know we talked, again, to the community partners, and there is a significant need for toddler programming, too, and actually Cindy is interested in maybe partnering in the toddler program, but the hope was that we would have these students for 2 years, and then they would enter right into our kindergarten program.
Okay, thank you. And then also, I'm assuming, I was just reading the little thing, so transportation is provided? Okay. And I think that was it. Meredith, and then Brad, and then Jackie.
So just to follow up to what Tina just said, are we starting with just 3-year-olds this year?
No, we're doing mixed age.
We're going to mix it, okay.
Yes, so some of our current students will be 1 year.
Okay, Brad?
Just going back to the, focus on supporting the families who really need it, what's the, is there a criteria that is used, a set criteria that's used, or is it just kind of a conversation in determining whether this is the right place or maybe the child should go someplace else?
Yeah, I think, we're planning on having an open house, and I think some of those discussions will happen there, but then there'll also have to be some other discussions with families and things like that too. It's pretty specific if you look at the outline as to like the services that we can support. Full day, full year, school day program will fit some families' needs and not others. Accessibility to the free lunches and the ML, the multilingual servicing and things like that. So most of the families that are currently showing interest, first of all, most of them do not have already existing preschool that fits their needs. It's one of the questions in the interest form. And the second one is that some of them have screened to be community peers, and for whatever reason, either want a full day program or maybe are not, have the criteria for the community peers. But I think there's some real good conversations to have yet. And I think that grew when Make Way was in place, that grew over time. Francie just kept saying to us, be patient, you're going to get to know families, you're going to get to know who needs that. The other thing I would say is Monomoy has a large at-risk population. About 60% of our students are high-need students for one of 3 categories. So we know this is a service that we can offer to our families and, have that kind of be lifted from them either through the voucher system and, the Chatham Town and the Harwich Town or through this program here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jackie?
Hi, Robin. Just a question about actually the PUPS program and then the integrated preschool. So because we're one district and we're running 2 kind of different styles or 2 different concepts of preschool programs. My question is, there's a few things that differ as far as length of time for the school day. We're doing half. The integrated program is 2 sessions of 2 half days, and that, you know what I meant. And then this is a full day session for the most part. And I'm a big champion of curriculum across the board and how we're doing everything. She knows what's coming. How do these 2 programs, in what ways are they alike educationally at that level? Because there's a lot that goes into kids at that young age developmentally. So how are we integrating what we're doing in the integrated preschool in Harwich into this full day program in Chatham?
Yes, so, there's certain public school offerings, obviously, in both towns, right? You have all that. But beyond that, so we do follow the Mass state standards for preschool. So both programs in the integrated, for our special education students, they obviously have an individualized education program plan. And then we have the pre-K programming standards. So the frameworks will be the same. They'll be based on the same frameworks. And again, the time in learning is going to be different, and that is a philosophy that the district has for the special education programs versus this full day, full year program. But, we have families calling saying, are they going to be able to nap, or, are there all these things? So we will be able to integrate some more of that type of opportunity, the play-based learning, some of those more extended opportunities for that in this program, just simply because of the time on learning.
Anybody else? Just one other quick question. So for the housing insecurity, low income, I assume there's some guidelines. So if everybody applies and meets the guidelines and they're over 20, that's where the lottery comes in.
So we are not putting a criteria based on this. We're just opening it up to all, but knowing that we have particularly fashion to service certain needs of certain families.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification.
Madam Chair, I just have a question. We do have someone in the audience who came late, who wasn't here for public comment. Is she able to ask a question to I think it's to Dr. Millen?
Yes. Do you have a question? Absolutely.
I have a question. I understand that busing was an issue with the integrated preschool and they were going to move to Chatham, the busing. And now they're saying for this program in Chatham, they're going to offer busing for Chatham Park. So how is that different than the busing issue that was going to be used for the integrated preschool? Because the people didn't want a bus that is to Chatham in just 45 minutes. I just was curious at how this busing issue is different from that busing issue that wasn't popular.
So just to clarify, are you talking busing issue concern for the parent or busing issue concern for us?
Programming and that type of thing.
I'm going to let Melissa.
I just remember there was a big discussion about busing and bringing them to Chatham, but now we're doing that again.
Thank you. And Melissa, if you don't mind just somehow summarizing the question, because I don't know if folks that are listening could hear the question.
Sure.
Yeah.
This question I can answer.
Thank you.
So the question is related to concerns about busing from Harwich to Chatham, if the program had been in Chatham. Busing actually has never been an issue. We currently bus children from from Harwich to our Chatham program and from Chatham to our Harwich program. So busing wasn't actually an issue in the district's perspective. We already do that. As a matter of fact, the Chatham preschool this year, we even changed the time a little bit so that, that we could make sure that the bus would be able to manage students coming from Harwich to Chatham. So just to clarify, it wasn't an issue. I think parents were concerned about the length of time, but we already do that both ways. So wasn't an issue for us in thinking about programming. Does that make sense?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We're good? Yeah.
And we have a third program. So again, in the strategic plan, we talk about multiple pathways for all different things. And this is one of the areas that I think we have nice pathways now established, both with our community partners and with our public school system. And one of our community partners is in our public school system, which is the YMCA in Harwich Elementary. So again, a needs assessment was done in 2019 that, again, isolated the absence of age 3 and 4 programming, more so on the child care side of it than the actual teaching and learning side of it, but child care program for 3 and 4s, and then the absolute absence of infant and toddler care. So the district went out, similar to what we did in Chatham, the district went out to look for a community partner to use some empty spaces at Harwich Elementary School at that time, and they partnered with the YMCA Cape Cod. So the Y has 3 rooms at Harwich currently, and then 1 office space that they, do all their paperwork and things at. The 24 revenue, I know that was a question that came up, and it's in the slide, but the revenue from the rental was $17,400. It's really to cover the cost of custodians. This program runs more than, actually, the public school runs. It runs year-round, full day to 7 to 5:30. Sometimes when we're closed, they're open. I mean, there is a lot, of that servicing to our families, our full-time working families in those hours. So the $17,500 or $400 about covers that cost of that custodial work and things like that. $14,000 of the revenue was used to offset the 26 assessments. Their surplus will go into excess and deficiency if there is some, and then the E&D and revenue offset of the assessments is listed there in your slide. So you can see it's not a big revenue source, but it is a rental income that we do take in, and then it's based on the regional agreement as to how that splits out. So the town of Harwich benefited approximately $13,000 from this program last year. So again, this is a full-day cohort, 5 days a week throughout the calendar year, through the summers as well. They do provide childcare from 3 months until 5, again, 7 to 5:30. They only close 11 days out of the school year, out of the whole year. And I think one thing that really is important to know about the history of this is they were open during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. They really, supported our first responders, all, teachers. They were there. They were essential workers, and they were really instrumental in helping us support families that needed to continue to work during that time. And it has continued to be a very sought-after program and a great community partner to have. I know the district was just honored as a community partner by the Y the last couple of weeks ago, and right now they have a 30-child wait list for this programming. So, again, just one more way that we're helping to support families in the community.
Any questions about the Y? Brad?
And again, I may have missed it in here, but how many there's 30 in wait list, but how many children are in it right now?
I don't have that number. Dr. Carpenter, do you have that number?
I'm sorry?
I don't have it.
I mean, is it 10, is it 20, is it 50?
Well, there's certain regulations also with them as far as the square footage of the classrooms and how many students they can actually service.
Yep.
It's different regulations for the infant childhood care and then the preschool programming, so I'd have to get those numbers for you.
I'd just be interested in how many, just if it's a 30-child wait list, is just how many are being served right now.
Can find that out for you.
Any other questions?
So I'll do a plug. You can scan the QR code, and if you want to register your child or see any more information, it's all translated on the website, and also we've gone to the libraries and to the, all over the place, to the food banks and things like that with all this information as well. So if you'd like to have any more information, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, thank you. I'll just say, on a personal note, my mother was a longtime preschool teacher, 40 years, and so this is very meaningful for me. Thank you so much. All right, next item on our agenda is the MRSD procurement card. Mr. McMillan.
Good evening, school committee. Michael McMillan, school business manager. I submitted a memo in your pack about a procurement card, a P card for the school district to sign up for a program to allow us to get one of these cards. So back in July, actually, you approved a new policy to allow the district to get a credit card under restricted guidelines that would allow us to, on occasion, make payments for items where the vendor will not accept a purchase order. So things like hotels, flights, and conferences. Those are the most often examples where these come up, and at the moment our only option is to ask employees to pay for them out of their own, using their own credit cards and money, and then we reimburse them. So this the purpose behind getting a credit card in the first place was to allow us to make those payments on their behalf. Under the policy, the card stays in the business office. It's only myself or the district accountant that would be able to use it, and nobody else. So we're not issuing them to anybody else. And this particular program is one that's run by the National Association of Business Officials. It's through the Illinois Association of School Business Officials. They have went out to bid and got a vendor, that's a bank, to help run this program. That gives us greater control over the maximums and the use of the card. So it's really restricted. We can set, on a day-to-day basis, we can set the maximum. So if we know a big purchase is on, we can increase it, but otherwise we can keep it low. And that just allows us to have really tight control of this, but also releases a burden that is currently on our employees, or something we're just not able to do. So, provide a little more information. One of the requirements for us to sign up for this card is that we have to have a board approval, and that's why we're here.
All right, perfect. Yes, Meredith.
So we approved this in July. Is this the first card we're trying to get?
This is, yes.
Okay.
A little delay.
I'll just make a comment. I remember reviewing this at that time period, and we kind of made sure that the precautions were being taken, that it was going to be very responsible, and kind of nailed it all shut, that there would not be any problem.
And so, and we included guidance along those lines that kind of really restrict and make it very clear how it's to be used. It's got to be signed out. The people who are using it aren't the people that look after it, so that really makes sure that it's tightly managed. And also, and I think one of the key things that the policy committee did was they said that there's always the option with these cards to issue them to staff and allow them to use it. But to begin with, it was that discussion with the policy committee, their recommendation was we keep them, and if somebody wants to use it, we would use it on their behalf to purchase, to make the payment. So the card stays in the business office and really restricts the risk of a fraud or misuse of the card.
Right. Any other comments? I'll just make a quick, do you have a comment?
I have a question.
Oh, question, go ahead.
My question is, in this third paragraph, it just says, procurement cards for each authorized employee of the district. Is that when you were referencing yourself as the business manager and the superintendent?
Yeah.
So you're the only two authorized?
So we would actually, we would only have one, and it would be in the office, and either myself, or if my designee, if, something happened and I wasn't able to do it, I would the district accountant would be able to use it, but we'd only actually have one card in the office.
So one card?
Yeah.
Only or you?
Yeah.
And then, in the event that it needs to be used for a vendor or a hotel reservation, airline reservations, et cetera, you use that card, or you give that card to someone to use?
Our plan is
for those
we would
things?
use it.
You would find
Yeah.
out what they needed and?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, and order it.
Brad?
Just a question, maybe, and I don't recall this being there before, if it was, and forgive me, but Bank of Montreal. Why the Bank of Montreal? Just wondering.
So when the Illinois Association of Business Officials issued the request for proposals for vendors, one of the banks the successful bank that applied it's called BN Bank, I think they're called. They didn't and they were subsequently bought by Bank of Montreal. So the Bank of Montreal is the parent company, but the bank is a, U.S. registered bank that is conducting business in America.
Yeah.
I did ask the same question.
Any other questions? I'm very familiar with the P card,
Oh.
Yeah, I use it myself.
Oh, nice.
But I wanted to say that through the policy subcommittee, we've
Yes.
spent a couple of years looking at this. So I just want everybody to know that this has been well-researched and vetted, and here we are. So
Yeah.
thank you for all your work. Any other, then I'll take a motion. It looks like a potential vote, so
Yes,
is everybody
please.
comfortable, or do you want to push this off to the 8th?
I would just make a comment, I think that, based on this, and I think, again, I don't know what happened in the vetting before, but I remember this past year, and I think that we made sure, and I think that everything that the policy subcommittee was requesting has been included in here, and I feel comfortable that we can vote.
Okay. All right, with that, may I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Do I have to read all of this?
You can just say as per.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the authorizing issuance of procurement cards memo as stated under here in the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, then this
All right.
passes. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next item is school committee calendar, discuss remaining dates. So in your packet is a calendar. So for this school committee, because everybody, did you have a question? So we have an election coming up on the Harwich side, May 20th. I can't remember what Chatham's is. So we have one more scheduled meeting for the school committee, which falls on the 8th. What I would like to propose, we have gotten a little bit behind on our superintendent evaluation, and we do need to get through that process with this school committee. So I would like to propose an additional meeting on May 1st at 6:30, if this committee agrees. And for the purpose would be that we come together, open the meeting, and it's for the sole purpose of looking at the draft superintendent evaluation that we're required to do. And then the 8th, it will come back for a final vote. And that's always been our process. So I would like to propose to this committee that we add, and it should be a short meeting, and unless something else urgent comes up, we might add another item. But for right now, it's just for one item. And so I'll just put this out to the group. I think we can do it by consensus, adding May 1st. Is anybody, yes, Jackie?
I think that's fine because we know the importance from past that we need to get this moving and keep it going. But I do think that the committee needs to understand what that means. That needs to be prepared for the May 1st meeting.
Exactly, yes.
And I think that's on the...
Yeah, and we're going
to be talking about that under subcommittees, but
Yes. Yeah.
there's going to be some homework.
Right, exactly. There will be a little bit of homework between now and May 1st. We'll talk about that under the subcommittee. But for right now, is there consensus to add May 1st? Anybody opposed? And I did check with members I knew wouldn't be here tonight. There doesn't seem to be any opposition, so I think we're good to go. So with that, we're going to add a May 1st meeting, 6:30 here at the library. Right now, the one agenda item, unless something urgent comes up, and we will let you know. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the approval of the Monomoy Regional High School donation to the Family Table Collaborative. I think this is Mr. McMillan.
All right. School committee, it's Michael McMillan, school business manager. So this is a donation from one of our student activity funds to the Family Table Collaborative. They provided details of how they raised the money, and they would like to make a donation. You know, as mentioned in previous meetings, this is student money, so it's not really ours to control, but because they're giving to charity, the state recommends that we get school committee approval before we transfer those funds.
All right, thank you. Any questions about this? All right, we do need a vote. Would anybody like to make a motion? Jackie?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Monomoy Regional High School donation of $2,000 to the Family Table Collaborative on behalf of the Empty Bowls, Full Hearts.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Great. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? All right, this passes. Thank you, thank you. And the next item, approval of non-union daily rates. Mr. McMillan.
So we have some staff, some positions which are not covered by either individual contracts or collective agreements, such as substitutes, and that's the biggest category is our substitutes, but it also includes summer work, and where I'd like to add students. So these are just where, so we kind of put this, over the last few years, we've put this list together just so we have a reference, and we've come to have it approved by school committee each year, and this is our request to have these rates approved for another year, so into FY26. We're not at the moment recommending any changes to any of these rates. We are at the moment able to fill the positions we need to. We did some comparison with other surrounding districts, and our rates, they're not the highest, but they're also not the lowest. So we're kind of where we'd like to be in the middle of the pack. So we don't want to make any increases at this moment, except there's just two changes. One is just a clarification around those positions for over summer work. The report just used to say extended school year positions, but actually it's extended and other summer programs, because we also have staff working over the summer. It's not extended school year. And then we would also just like to add students who are currently being paid $15 an hour, and we'd like to propose that we increase that to $16 an hour.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Brad?
Yeah, how many students participate in this during the summer?
It's not a lot, so we spend about maybe around $2,000 a year on students. And most of them are the ones that work supporting the school committee meetings. That's the main one we do. So there's 2 or 3 students do that year to year. We just occasionally have, like, for example, working in the auditorium. We've recently been trying to use students to help out with the sound system and for events in the auditorium. And that's only kind of change really there, but not many. And it's not really a primary use, but since there's a rate, we just wanted to make sure it was kind of codified somewhere.
Sure, and just one more question is it not changing the rates for anything else, but what's the rationale? I know it's $1, but what's the rationale for going up with students and not the other positions?
So really when the last time we had to use students, so outside, we were trying to use students for the auditorium, and it was really hard to get students when we're only paying $15 an hour, and we know that if they're, especially here during the summer, and that students can go and get paid significantly more than that if they're working in a bar, well, not bar, but if they're working in a restaurant, working in a restaurant or grocery store, then they're getting more than that.
Empty hearts.
Empty hearts, yeah, empty pockets.
Yeah.
Anybody else, questions? I just have a quick question on
Yeah.
process. With these students, like, how do they apply? Like, what, is there?
I mean, it doesn't happen very often, so we're looking for volunteers or people that are interested in getting involved in the auditorium process. So there isn't really a formal process,
Okay.
but it's opened out to any students that are
So it's
interested.
open, all right. And everybody's aware of the opportunity, I guess? I just want to
I can
make
make
sure
sure
that
that's the
it's
case,
equitable.
yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. May I have a motion? It looks like we do need a vote on this. Could I have a motion, please? Jackie?
Motion to approve the rates for substitute positions and other positions as noted in the memo provided to the school committee for this meeting. New rates to be effective July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
And Brad seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? All right, this passes.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving to the next item or section on our agenda is Subcommittee Representative Liaison Report, Superintendent Evaluation Update. So in your packets, as I indicated earlier, we have gotten a little bit behind on our superintendent evaluation process, which is why we're adding the May 1st date. So in the packet, let's see, you've got three things here. We've got Superintendent Carpenter's goals, which I know the subcommittee has been reviewing, but I don't think the subcommittee has seen this version. And then we've got Superintendent Carpenter's self-assessment, summative evaluation. So you've got these two things, and with that, you will be assessing him as an individual school committee member, so there are some things, and he actually has the rubric also. So there's three things, actually, you're going to have to consider, or two things for your assessment. But I do want to give Superintendent Carpenter, because normally we would, as a subcommittee, you would have an opportunity to kind of talk us through. Would you like to highlight for the public, for us, some of what your self-reflection is in this moment? I'm putting you on the spot. Just anything you want to highlight.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, there's just a little bit on each of my own goals, but, there's things in there that talk about the, sort of like the budget cycle that we've gone through this year to an interesting attempt with the equity audit and to get that moving, mold in a middle school project, and then there's, things that, that I get involved in directly with students with, sort of mentorship programs and seeking input in the community for other adults to get involved in mentoring students. So there's a little synopsis of those different pieces, along with work that I've done with other members of the administrative team when it comes to career pathways and getting into classrooms.
All right, thank you. Jackie, yes.
Do you want me to speak on behalf of the evaluation
Please.
committee?
Yeah,
as well?
if you would. Thank you.
So just a little debrief about what we do. We started in the very beginning of the year. Dr. Carpenter and the subcommittee meet, and he comes with some formulated goals that he's looking for doing, either they're continuous from the year prior or they're new goals for him for the new school year. We review them a couple times actually, and kind of go back and forth on things we'd like to see him do and or emphasize some of the things he is doing, and maybe talk about some action items in there and some timelines. And once those are complete, we do present those to the committee. If you do recall, you guys have an opportunity to review and ask questions of the superintendent and the committee as well. And that's what we decided on those. We voted them forward, and then Dr. Carpenter carries on. We meet a couple times regarding the progress of those, and you'll see in the 24-25 April update, what he does is he reports to the subcommittee on each of the goals and gives reflection on the action steps he's had, and then there's a mid-year progress report for each of the goals. So it kind of keeps us in line with what's going on, how are things progressing, have things come up that have inhibited him from proceeding with various items on the individual goals. Now that we have this, he has an April progress report in here as well. He then does a reflective in the rubric, which you have in front of you. So for each standard, or excuse me, each goal, there is, for each standard, there is a goal associated with it, and then he has his reflection of that and where he's rated himself. And you're going to use that document and complete the summative evaluation report, which is that separate packet, to evaluate the superintendent and his goals. And there are a few steps in it. There's a few steps in it, and then what ends up happening is a representative from our evaluation subcommittee will take all of your summative evaluations, they compile all the information, they create evaluation, rate an overall rating of, I even forget what the proficient, exemplary, and we don't even talk about needs improvement. And then they do a summary of all of our feedback on our summative forms. They present that to us, which is the meeting that we're talking about for May 1st, at which time we hear what the general summation of everything is, and then that's brought back to us on our second meeting in May to vote on to put forward.
Thank you. That was really good.
It was kind of good.
And a couple of things, and then I'll take some questions. So a couple of things, again, going back to the goals, and thank you, Jackie, for saying that, because you all did review it twice. What was missing, just for scheduling reasons, was the April progress report. So that's what we're getting tonight, so we know that update. And the other thing Jackie was saying, so the committee would have reviewed all of this, and then we come forward. So right here, your end of cycle summative evaluation report, you've all got a copy of it in your packet. We have a fillable version of this that after tonight's meeting, we're going to send out, or I'll send it out to everybody, and you can work electronically. You could just go in and fill it in. Unless you want to do, we've had people in the past that want to handwrite it, and that's fine. If that's your preference, let us know. And then once you fill it out, then the next step, Jessica, as the subcommittee chair, is going to collect everybody's individual reports. This right here, the fillable version. And we're asking for those to be submitted to Jessica no later than April 20th, which is a Sunday. So you've got over a week, maybe 12 days. And then Jessica and I will work together to collect everybody's reports. We'll be looking for common themes that we'll group together. We're going to look for different perspectives, because it's always our intention to pull something from every school committee member to put in the collective report. So that will be April 20th, and I'll follow up with everybody via email with these dates. So you'll send your form to Jessica, and then she and I will work together with the goal of having the group report written, I think it's the 28th, it'll be that next Monday, so that we can get it in the agenda packet, so that it gets out to all of you for review. We'll meet May 1st and talk about it as a group. And Jessica or I, whoever we decide, will read the group evaluation for all of us and the public. And then each of us, as an individual, should we choose, will have the opportunity to read our own assessment. And that's something we've always given the option for school committee members. You can take a pass, but we want to make sure everybody has their own voice in there. And then that'll take place May 1st, so that'll be the group draft, and then we'll come back on the 8th and take an official vote, and then it has to be filed. Yes, Jackie?
Tina, I'm sorry, can you reiterate the due date for the evaluation for the individual?
Yeah, the individual evaluations to Jessica, April 20th will be the last day, Sunday, and that's a Sunday.
By email or
Yes, by
hard
email.
copy, either one? Okay.
If you want to do a hard copy, again, we've had members in the past that prefer that, let me know, reach out to Jessica, we'll make some arrangements to get that from you.
The other thing I did want to mention is, it really is only the first page, front and back, that you have to submit. Or do we have to do all of it now?
Yeah, it's changed.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
It's the first 4 sections that are filed.
That's what it was. Okay, so I've done this a few times and it's changed on me every time.
It does.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you do have to do the whole packet now?
Yes.
Okay, well, what I was gonna say is you might want to give your whole packet because as someone who's done the summative a few times, it's very helpful to read all the different comment blocks to extrapolate what people are talking about and grab context from that for the overall summary. So it is beneficial if you do provide the whole thing, but you have to anyway, so never mind.
Yeah. Brad, did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, the video that you talked about before, is that an
Yes.
instruction on how to do this, or is that
Yes,
just
it is.
philosophically how to?
Yes, it is. And so, just for the public, so with the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, so we as a school committee are required every year to evaluate the superintendent on all of these categories. So what I have done with Bree and Brad, because this is their first year doing this, so we have there's a guidelines, so it's written, you can read how to do it. There's also a sample, so they give you a sample rubric and they walk you through the different categories. There's also a webinar training that MASC Mass provides, that I've provided Brad and Bree. So yes, so when you sit and watch the webinar, it will walk you through each step on how to do this.
Okay.
And if you have questions beyond that, just reach out to me. And anybody who needs a refresher, happy to send that information to you with the webinar and the manual. Because it is, the first time you do this, maybe even the second time you do it, it's a bit overwhelming, so, but that will walk you through it.
Or 9 times when you've done it.
Yeah, it's a lot, you have to take it all in. And as you're reflecting, that what you're looking for is you're going to read Superintendent Carpenter's goals, because he's doing his own assessment, he's self-assessing, and so you're going to read his goals, you're going to, do you agree with his assessment? Do you agree that he's met the goals he set out to do? And then he's got his own self-reflection here, and then you want to read through all of it, and do you agree with how he's assessed himself? Do you think he's maybe done better than what he says, and maybe not as good? Whatever you feel, you'll have an opportunity to rate him in various categories. And then you'll come at the end here, and then it kind of breaks it down for an overall.
So you actually start on page 3.
Yes.
Start on page 3. You find his professional practice goal 1, you read through what his goals were, what his midterm summary was, you read his reflection, you can go back through your documentation, you can go online and look at different things, and then you report out, did not meet, some progress, significant progress, met, exceeded, and then at the end of each one of those, like so that's superintendent's performance goals, you also have an opportunity to, in instructional leadership, and then you can make comments about that too.
Exactly. And if you look in your copy, the fillable copy we're going to give you, and you're basically just matching it up with what he says. And do you agree? Do you think he's done better? Do you think he's not done as, whatever. You can kind of decide on what you feel as an individual school committee member. Match it all up. Any other questions for now? So those dates again, April 20th would be the last day to get your individual assessments. And again, we're talking about this bit of which you will get fillable. We're going to send that to you this evening. That has to get to Jessica no later than April 20th. She and I will work together to summarize everything and get it to Leah April 28th for inclusion in the packet for May 1st. And then we'll get together and talk about the group assessment. All right, any other questions? Additional comments? All right, thank you very much. And the next item is the Monomoy Regional Middle School Restoration Project update.
Scott or Mary, as I was not in attendance last night.
I feel like this is the first time that you've gone through this.
So I'd be happy just to share last night we, at the building committee meeting, we had this slide deck. There's an extra slide that's put in there because, let's just say, sort of the community outreach for the restoration project is fast and furious as we head from now till town meeting. Rich Roy gave a presentation, gave the same presentation at the Harwich Elementary PTO, was it Tuesday night? And I gave the presentation at the Chatham Elementary School PTO meeting. And I won't belabor it. I think the pictures sort of speak for themselves. It's sort of short and sweet, but we'll also put this out to the community on our website, and Ed McManus, one of the co-chairs of the building committee, Mark Kelleher, who's on the building committee, I believe Rich Roy, and possibly Craig Gabri will be joint presenting this to the Harwich Select Board on Monday. So they're on the Select Board agenda with this. But the project's two-phase. So first phase is this year siding and windows with replacement of the windows the following year. And I really appreciated when the architects were here with us. They talked about that the building looks kind of nice from Kroll Road, and once you get really close to the building, it looks a little weathered. So we see throughout that the pine trim is really starting to deteriorate, creating openings for rainwater, and as we are finding out in the spring, openings where birds are now nesting. We've used spray foam to plug some of the gaps, and as I found out 2 days ago, apparently birds like to dig out the spray foam and nest in the spray foam. There's across the building, both right above the trim, just above the slab, and above the trim that's sort of 3 feet off the ground. It was installed with a cedar drip edge, and that cedar board 30 years later has rotted, and it's no longer diverting water away from the building when it rains. We have situations where, particularly at the corner of windows, when it rains hard, as it seems like it has for everything but the last 2 days, for quite some time, we'll have rain penetrating the edges of the windows, impacting drywall and the sills. They have sampled 75 spots going around the building. It's essentially about every 15 feet around the entire building's perimeter, looked under the plywood, and what you've found in some areas, the plywood sheathing is rotting. And when you have wetness that's getting on that plywood sheathing, this is a view from cores that the engineers did. So they used infrared imaging to scan through the walls, and you could tell in that, using the infrared imaging, things that show up cold are wetness. So they would bore through the drywall. The drywall was fine. The pink insulation is fine for the moment. But what you see is this is the backside of some of that sheathing, and you can actually see that you have literally fungus growing on the back of that sheathing. So we know that a significant amount of the sheathing around the building is going to need to be replaced, so that there's something solid to hang the new siding on. So the punchline here is the interior drywall and insulation remain largely unaffected, and the repairs now will preserve a great building. We've been doing indoor air testing. The indoor air testing has been coming back fine for the moment, but the issue is that if we have prolonged wet conditions, we know that this can lead to mold growth and impact the indoor air quality for our students, staff, and teachers. So the goal is to replace the cedar shingles with a long-lasting low-maintenance synthetic siding. This is an architect rendition of what the library front of the building would look like if it were done over with a sort of a gray polymer clapboard, and the whites up there, instead of being pine trim, would be like an A6, which is a cellular PVC product that that is made to last. This is the similar, that same exposure and a rendition of what it would look like if you were using like a Hardy makes a product that is a fiber cement shingle. So if you had a fiber cement shingle, again with the A6 white trim. So on 2 days ago, a contractor dropped off 4 mock-ups that we have leaning against the front of the middle school, and also same 4 type of panel, same 4 panels. The color just looks a little different because of sunlight, but the same 4 panels are also leaning against the front of Harwich Elementary School, so people in both communities can see the panels. So you have that dark gray that was in that first picture of the mock-up, top and bottom. You have a scenario that's a sort of a beige, that's a darker beige in a shingle pattern, sort of lower down with a light beige up above. Then panel number 3 has a shingle up above with a slightly darker gray clapboard below. And option 4 was that second picture of the whole facade, which is that gray hardy fiber cement board. So as of about 2 o'clock this afternoon, we have along or outside the front of Harwich Elementary School and the middle school, there's a sign with a QR code, and you can take out your phone right now. Go ahead. Really, this is interactive.
I did it on TV.
And you can scan the QR code, and you can actually, it'll take you to a survey that talks about the project, and then asks you to give the building committee feedback as to, do you prefer grays or tans? Do you prefer a clapboard look versus a shingle look, or do you like that mixed approach? And then would you prefer a polymer, like a polymer product or a fiber cement product? And it was interesting today, there were some people from the community, some elderly people from the community outside of the middle school, and they were grabbing the material. It's okay to touch and feel and see, so you can, they're interactive displays too. But as of going into this report, we've already had 53 people give feedback on it. So, what's that? Oh, 56 now. So it's out there. We pumped it out in a blast to the community today, just encouraging them to provide feedback on the siding. We have a meeting with the building committee next Thursday, and we will take that feedback, and the building committee will actually have, for the first time, a chance to go out and touch and feel and see the materials. And we'll start the process of making a decision as to which material we use, because that can actually drive some of the budget decisions. So so each of the materials has a slightly different cost, and if we find that the community really likes, let's say number 1, I don't know the price difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4, but let's say they like number 1, and number 1 is actually a less expensive product, but the committee feels is going to be long and lasting and meet those, that maintenance-free aspect and low maintenance and long lasting, and chooses to go that direction, we may actually find going into our town meetings that there's a recommendation from the building committee to potentially reduce the ask if the want of the committee and what we're hearing from the community is a product that is slightly less expensive. I'm not going to say that there's a million dollar difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4, but there may be 100,000 or so here or there, depending on the product, and we want to go in to town meeting with a good, the best estimate of what that final number is going to be. In terms of Other things that we've shared, just the cost of the siding windows project is an $11.5 million project, is what we anticipate it being, and that's what we've kind of put onto the warrants in each town. That's for this year's town warrants. For next year's town warrants, we would be bringing forward the roofing project. The estimate that we have out there is that the roofing project is an $8.5 million project, of which the state's Accelerated Repairs Program would pay for 37%. So for the taxpayers, it would be a little over $5 million that they would split. The split at the moment, we are as of now 77% Harwich, 23% Chatham, and that funding is based on that foundation enrollment split. And there was a conversation Tuesday amongst the towns just about that regional agreement and that assessment formula. So it is, that is subject to modification if the towns have something that they would mutually like to move forward to the school committee to vote to then put on warrants at future annual town meetings. And again, the way our regional agreement reads, it specifically states that any change to the regional agreements at an annual town meeting. It does not say annual or special town meetings, so so there's, we have to take that into mind. Michael did a great job of reaching out with the finance directors and coming up with what the impact would be based on the regional agreement in Harwich. The phase one, the siding windows project would be $58 per year for the average home. In Chatham, it's $16. Again, fewer Chatham students, lower tax rate is what's behind that. If we take the following year and put the roof into the mix, it would be an additional $20 for a Harwich tax bill, $6 for a Chatham tax bill. And then the last thing is the town meetings in both towns are May 5th for Harwich, Saturday, May 10th in Chatham, and Harwich will have this on a ballot measure on the 20th.
Thank you. Any questions, Meredith?
I just want to add that I just want to say thank you to the members on our committee, because I think we have some very knowledgeable members on our committee from the construction world, and we got to this place of being able to have the panels at both schools because we're really leaning on them for their expertise, and they're also thinking about the needs of the students and the staff in the building. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm appreciative that I'm part of the committee.
And I would echo exactly what Mary shared, and my experience has been mutually the same, beneficial for the district, and not only are they leaders in, the contracting and construction industry for the Cape, but they're also professionals and really have the district at the best interest, trying to find the most feasible way to do this. We have four options up there, but we did sit at one of our last meetings and talk about it needs to be sustainable, it needs to be easy to install, it needs, all those factors are into play, and I can't believe how fast this committee together has expedited, and we've gotten this far with such concise information. Thank you to Dr. Carpenter and to Michael as well, but they truly are a group of volunteers unlike any other. And it's a very large group with great input from everyone, so I do appreciate all of their time. Thank you.
We will have a video. Yesterday, the members of the building committee made a video, so I anticipate we'll probably launch that maybe after we get back from spring break, or sometime later next week. But it's the who's who in the construction industry in our two towns really talking about the importance of the project.
Thank you for that. What I might suggest in this moment, because Harwich Town meeting is May 5th, so we've already decided we're going to meet on May 1st. Would it be okay with this committee if we added maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes for an update on the middle school? Because if you're doing this survey, it might help us all to have an update and a report ahead of the May 5th meeting. Would anybody be opposed to adding that to the agenda? All right, so May 1st, we're going to add the middle school restoration project, because I'm very curious. I'd like to see what the survey shows.
I'd just like to say, just overall, is whatever we need, since we're going to meet, if
Yes.
there's anything we need to add to the agenda at that time,
Yes.
that's, that we need to, that we should.
Okay, thank you.
Just one last thing, we're also going to be doing 2 community forums on this, so we're going to have a community forum on April 22nd in Harwich at the Community Center, and a forum in Chatham on April 29th. So we'll be pumping that out to the community to answer questions that community members might have about the project, but also to go and share again that slide deck with them.
All right, thank you. And that was April 29th for Chatham, and what was the date again for Harwich?
22nd.
The 22nd.
22nd's during vacation, but
Okay.
this is to get information out.
Okay.
Really to focus on people who aren't part of the school system, to have them understand
All
the
right.
project and why.
Thank you for that. Okay, good. We might be able to report out on that too at the May 1st meeting. All right, thank you. So let's move to the next item, Subcommittee Representative Liaison Reports, National School Board Association Conference. So I attended the National School Board Association Conference in Atlanta last weekend, going into Monday. And many of you know that I am the Division 7 Chair for the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. So my territory is Cape Cod and the Islands, and Wareham and Carver and Rochester. So I was a delegate from Massachusetts at the National School Board Conference. I attended wonderful workshops. I love networking with school committee members across the state, but it was even richer to talk to people, school board members across the country. I really, really enjoyed my conversations. I attended 2 rural school board workshops, and it was really interesting to hear about really rural. So that was really interesting. And I met so many people from seaside towns, just up and down the East Coast, on the West Coast. Those conversations were wonderful. In your packet, I did want to share with you, there was a workshop I attended. It was Beyond the Checkbox, Meaningful School Board Self-Evaluations. So I've included this in your packet, and I might invite all of you, the future school committee that will come after I step away, is to think about an assessment on this board, this committee as a whole. How effective are we in our roles, not only to the district, but to the community, and as individual school committee members. I just thought it was very interesting, and there are some really good examples here of 2. There was one from Michigan, and I think the other one, was Colorado. Colorado and Michigan. I just wanted to share this with all of you, because I think that's something we have not done on this school committee. I think we do a real good job evaluating our superintendent, but I think we really need to look at ourselves and our commitment as an individual school committee member and as a collective. So I shared this with all of you. And then the other thing, I went to many workshops with the National Education Association. Many of you know I have my work is in legislation and public policy, so I'm very interested on a federal level what was happening. So I went to many workshops just to see what the status was on all of these things happening on the national level. So that was of great interest to me. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. But I do hope you will consider this, just so we all understand what our roles are, and are we doing the best job we can do. All right, any questions? All righty, let's move on then to the superintendent's report. Dr. Carpenter.
I just have three quick recognitions. First, we'd like to thank the Chatham Orpheum for hosting the middle school Shells program and the Chatham Elementary SEAL program last week for a sensory-friendly mover experience. We'd also like to thank the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy that sent the shark display that they had at the Provincetown Shark Center to the high school, and we will be mounting a 12-foot fiberglass shark above in the rafters down in the hallway. So it'll be out by the community entrance near the cafeteria and gymnasium. So probably when you return after school vacation week, there should be a shark dangling from the ceiling. And then lastly, tonight's the high school Pops concert in the auditorium. This year's theme's the British Invasion. It's a great fun evening with great performances, and it's sort of sad that we're here and not two doors down in the auditorium.
Yes, that is where our chair is this evening, and that is why I'm here with all of you. So, yes, we'll look forward to hearing about that. All right, let's see. Declaration of surplus item is our last piece of business. In your packet is something from Principal Catone. And could I have a motion, please, for the surplus item declaration? Meredith?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the movement of the piano at Harwich Elementary School to surplus that has a lot of history. It was there when I was in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
So that's my motion.
Thank you. A second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that has been accepted. And the presentation of the warrants has been made. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Meredith, seconded by Jackie. All in favor? Aye. All right, I am calling the meeting. It's adjourning at 8:07. Thank you all for your service.